Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host. Today I got Coach Stokes, originally from Los Angeles, California, based in Finland right now. He is the CEO and inventor of the Two8. Coach Stokes, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Pleasure to be here, man.
I am delighted to see how we can jump into this podcast because obviously people know I talk about barefoot shoes, fascia, but as far as mobility, flexibility, that's kind of what I work on as a practice. And I was intrigued by your lovely invention, lovely bands, because they are something that's unique on the marketplace. And I would love to first introduce yourself. Who are you? How'd you get into doing this type of work where you're helping people move better, feel better, and whatnot? So go ahead.
All right. Well, I was a professional athlete it's been so long. Can't remember. Many moons ago, I started my professional athletic career in 2005. And I know I went through at least 2016. It's a little blurry at the end there because I played American football. So, smashing my head uh, into the wall or into other people many times, which affects my memory a little bit. Just long term, not short term. So we're good to go. And then, 2016. But I unretired maybe 3 or 4 times. Just couldn't all the way let go. I don't know that I've all the way let go right now, to be honest. You watch the game and be like, I can still do it, right? But being injured in the middle of my prime, at the height of my powers, created another obsession of mine, and that just solidified me creating the business that we have now. And even before that, getting out of college, there was no aspirations or anyone looking or expecting me to go pro. Like I had a very, very, as far as college athletics go, a very average career, right? I started, but smaller colleges didn't really make a splash. So when it was over, it was over. And then the attempt to get back into it came from the methodology that we put into the band as well, that helped a 2-year plan to even get a chance to try to be professional. Because of the methodology we were using, I was pro in 6 months. So it's a pretty good theory that worked out pretty well for me. And that's why I'm in Europe now, because I played all over the world, played in over 8 different countries, and met my wife while I was playing out here and started a family here. Story's over, kind of feel survivor's guilt being over here watching what's happening in the States right now, but I can't complain. I have a good life.
You were on this a TV show. Kind of give us this appearance that you were on. I think something with like a thing. It's in, I don't know if it's in Finnish, but it's kind of like American Ninja Warrior. All right.
Well, fun fact, I've been on American Ninja Warrior.
So that's how you got into it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was on American Ninja Warrior first.
Okay.
And albeit a running back, I slipped when I was running and fell in the water. Very embarrassing. It was actually like that to the point where I was doing everything. It was pretty easy. And the blocks that spin around that you got to run over. When I got there, the guy that went before me, all the blocks were pointed straight up. Like there was no flat surface for me to step on. And they were like, you have to touch at least 3 blocks. So I'm like, I could just jump over this whole thing. But try to play by the rules, and I got wet real quick. So there's a brief cameo of me on there. They were doing a whole story about how I came from Finland and I played pro football in Europe and the whole thing. But because I slipped, I got cut down to like an 8-second clip. So that was American Ninja Warrior season 13. So then a year after that, you remember American Gladiators?
Yeah.
I mean, this probably shows how old we are, but American that show has been sold to other countries as well, and it used to be in Finland, and then they revamped it shortly after I did the Ninja Warrior. So I went and applied for that, and it was more towards my skill set of what I was able to do there. So um, I went on for 3 episodes, I believe, and it was like an elimination thing. So it was more not just you're going against the gladiators, but we're trying to find the best competitor against the gladiators. Elimination process of elimination, and I made it all the way to the final. So it was me versus one other guy. We eliminated everyone, and I lost first my shoe in the final race. And as I lost my shoe in the final race, I should have had the barefoots with the toes or something on there, but yeah, not quite. And as I lost my shoe, I lost the race. But second place, mm, most bitter places to be. But it was fun overall. Got to do some air wrestling, uh, the classic dunk the ball in while you're juking people, climbing the pyramid, uh, going off the rings over a big pool. I got choke slammed on that one. That was rough. But yeah, man, it was fun times. Second place, and just need a better shoes. Need better shoes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who probably have tried out or auditioned for that type of thing that you did. So it's rare, man. I mean, to be on there and live. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's fun times, man. And I tell my wife I do this stuff just for the kids. Um,
Yeah.
it's like 80% kids, 20% ego, right? But especially in retirement, I gotta be like, oh, I still got it. And plus, because I don't have any cartilage between the joints of my knee and my right knee, sacrifice that to the football gods. So because I don't have that cartilage, the doctor, I kid you not, when I went to go see him, he's like, yeah, you have advanced onset arthritis, and your knee is about that of a 75-year-old. And I'm like, well, that just means it's really wise. Watch what I do next. So then I did Ninja Warrior. After that, I did It's called Gladiatorit in Finnish, but Gladiator. After that, and just keep trying to push it, man. I gotta stay active because being inactive feels like death. And when you are so used to playing a sport professionally and you can't do that anymore, it is soul sucking. It'll take a lot out of you. So you gotta find ways to stay active, stay engaged.
Yeah. And notice a lot of professional athletes, former college athletes, they always have to have that edge or competitive spirit or, something to keep them active. And it's probably just mentally that, they're searching for it. But,
Oh yeah, love to
retirement.
compete.
Yeah. I mean, that's your DNA from growing up playing competitive and, being around team sports, pushing your limits. So I can only imagine that's kind of what led you to, even furthermore into your brand, which I love to
Mhm.
talk about. 2/8 bands. What does that mean? Where did that name come from?
Okay, well, the simple part of it is 2-8 was the number I wore when I played. I
Okay.
always say 2-8. I don't say 28 because my mantra was, hey, you guys play. I came here to dominate. Yes, corny, don't care. I love it. I'm here. I'm determined to dominate. That was my whole thing. So that's why I wore the 2-8. My sister's born on the 28th. 28 is the number of wealth and abundance. Um, 2 + 8 is 10. It's a perfect number. Uh, perfect 10 or however you want to address that.
Yeah.
But the other reason is the band that you're holding. There's a figure 8 loop on either end of the band. There's two of them. So we have two figure 8 loops built into each band. So there's 2-8 bands.
Yep. I see that.
And these bands are designed not to be like other resistance bands. We almost feel like that's somewhat of an insult. No, I'm not saying you did that, but that's been our biggest struggle when it comes to marketing because we don't fit in a resistance band category because our band does so much more than what normal resistance bands do. Normal resistance band provide the conveniency of travel, compact, lightweight, and positive resistance. This is true of basically any resistance band out there. But
Yeah.
we took it up a bunch more notches by circumventing all of the pain points that come with traditional resistance bands while also bringing in functionality so that you can do things that were never before possible. So the fact that you can wear it, you can anchor it, and you can supplement different workout equipment by just using the bands without any extra equipment, no Velcro, no metal clips, no hazardous handles, anything like that. Everything's built into the simple fabric design, and it's premium made fabric that gets done in the same factories that make stuff for Louis Vuitton. Like we cut no corners because we said, all right, we can just sell resistance bands and put a brand on it.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, you're just doing what everyone else is doing, and you're just trying to sell something based off of your personal brand or your reputation. I don't care about my personal brand in that regards. I care about helping people move better. So I'm like, let's set out to make the best fitness piece of equipment ever created, the most functional, most reliable, most versatile piece of equipment you could ever make. So that's how that came to be. I don't even remember what your original question was, but you get me going talking about the product. You get me going. We have 28 different modes you can use the band in. That's another reason we call it 2-8 bands. That might have been a stretch originally. Like, okay, let's really be on brand
Uh-huh.
for how many different ways we can use this. But as we sat down and we wrote down all the ways that we normally use what we had already designed, it was easy to get to 20. Okay, 21 to 28, we were stretching a little bit in some areas, but the more we've talked to professionals, the more we talk to coaches, you in fact showed us a different mode to use it in. So we call those the 2-8 modes. And we were
Uh-huh.
just like, what we never wanted to do was create a device that you had to use like the device.
Mm-hmm.
Take a treadmill, for instance, right? A treadmill is a treadmill. You can do different things on a treadmill, but a treadmill has a specific purpose and it sits in a certain place. We
Sure.
wanted to be the exact opposite of that, where we want you to do what you want to do, and we want to enhance that. So we're like an all natural steroid, where if you use the band to do whatever it is you normally do, we'll just make it way better. And that was always the premise. So we never wanted to put it into a box like, oh, you have to be in this environment or you have to use it this way. And
Mm-hmm.
having that open-ended approach makes marketing very challenging because marketing 101 is have a specific purpose and talk to a specific person.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell that we didn't start this from the business mindset. We started it from the coaching and the consumer mindset of how do I make the best product? How do I get the most out of the product? Which I think is the only reason we've been able to survive, tough financial times and starting the business in the middle of the pandemic was the fact that we focused on the product first. Then we focused on the customer second. Lastly, we got to, oh, we should actually probably make this a good business to keep doing it. So that makes it much more challenging to grow, but it's been a wonderful journey. I wouldn't change a thing about it. And now that we left it open ended like that, it made it possible for coaches to come in and put their stamp on it. And like I said, like you showed us a new mode. I got another one when I was in Greece last week, struggling to walk up a mountaintop without the cartilage in my knee. I call it grasshopper mode, right? I just jerry rigged some stuff because I couldn't use my leg, just gave out on me, right? And I just kind of manipulated the band in a way that allowed my shoulder to hold up my leg every time I took a step. It's pretty intense. So I was actually like screaming on the hill with excitement, like, "Whoa, this is great!" Because I felt like I could walk again when I had lost the ability to literally walk. So and we've had people, amputees, people with brain damage, use the bands to autocorrect some movement mechanics that had been stripped away from them to kind of get back to a sense of normalcy. And again, if we would have prescribed a particular way to use the band or say, no, you have to do it like this, I don't think a lot of that would have been possible for other people
Mm-hmm.
to figure those things out. So now that we've been doing this, now we're pressed like, okay, we have to keep it at 28 modes. We can't really go higher, but we just say it's going to be the top 28 modes are the only ones we put on the mobile app.
Gotcha. Oh, that's awesome. No, I think that's great as far as marketing, keeping, like you're saying, the name on brand, and really just sticking to, the roots from where you started off with. I mean, definitely has a lot of meaning story behind it.
Oh yeah, and to add, we say if coaching is about getting the most of the time that you have with the people you're around. So from all of these 28 modes, in order to qualify, you have to be able to get in and or out of the mode in 2 to 8 seconds. If it takes 9 seconds, it's not a 2-8 mode.
Got it. So you're mentioning about resistance bands, because I've used resistance bands. I mean, name it, gyms, rehab places, PTs, athletic trainers room. I mean, yeah, man, like these are, typical resistance bands, whether if it's these longer ones here, they're either heavy or they don't fit quite well. You have, like, of course, the type of resistance bands you put around your knee, arms, wherever. But these, they have a certain, limitations of resistance. Of course, if you go to a PT or anywhere to do rehab, these can only do so much. Like, yeah, I get it. I've used them, but I think as from a consumer point and even like an athlete's perspective, like you want to mimic a lot of the movements that you're used to doing, from various sports or training, I guess you should say. But what really caught my attention, and from how I've been using it personally, is just really using the features that you have. Like I said, these are great for myself when I'm using it with clients, attaching it to the door. I mean, I love that you guys have the stitching where this typically you can just latch it on behind the door, and it does. I've seen you where you're like literally doing Spider-Man off the door and you're not falling off, and that's wild to see. Like, this can hold your whole body weight, behind the door. 'Cause usually you need to like have like a TRX where you have that huge metal clip, and you have to, and that's something that I don't know for most people, if they want to lug around, if you're traveling. This is travel friendly, this is lightweight, this is durable, this is strong. And most people, I think, like I said, they don't see that these things, especially the end part, where you can attach it to your foot. I've attached it to my wrist. Literally, I mean, you can do so much stuff on my training, or even with rehab and I guess exercises with clients, that this has been helpful for people to feel secure knowing that they can do these type of various movements. But kind of give me an idea where you got this inspiration as far as this mechanism right here, this loop.
Well, you kind of set that up perfectly, because it literally is about not the idea, but the experience. Like I said, I've been a professional athlete since 2005, but playing all over the world and being an ambassador for the sport in different places other than America, being in Canada, being in Italy, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Norway, Finland, Austria, being in all these different locations, you're an ambassador of the sport. So you're required to bring your experience. So even though I was playing professionally, I always had to wear a coaching hat as well. And I had to articulate not only the sport, but athletic performance to everyone else, everywhere I went. My business partner, he's the one that helped me transform myself into a professional when I was just playing recreational flag football in a park. So he hasn't stopped from that time. Combined, that's over both of us having both over 20 years of experience. And the main people that we were working with in the beginning, and still to this day, are young athletes, because we realized, even when we started training, we were like, yeah, okay, I got myself to be a much better athlete because I learned movement literacy. I learned how to control my body differently, and especially when that applies to speed. And then we started trying to apply that to the kids we were training, but realized most of the time we spent training, we were unprogramming bad habits that we just learn kind of organically as we go through life, because we don't have a very focused eye on how to do it. And I use the word literacy intentionally, because It's just like reading and writing. And there is an agreed upon societal pathway of go to school, learn your ABCs, sing a freaking song about it, learn
Mm-hmm.
words, learn sentences, and we're going to make sure you learn how to communicate through written language. You have to learn the protocols. And if you suffer for something like dyslexia, we got to get you extra help. We got to get you extra support. That's agreed upon nearly by every subject. Like this is a collective agreement that we have to get this person to understand how to read and write. But with sports, it's like, okay, this is how you play the game. Go figure it out. Go run. Go jump. And I was in a Google Innovator project that I got accepted to because I started doing research and I'm working in schools and I would literally go into classrooms and I started asking the entire class, like, hey, who likes to run? And all the way through the third grade, consistently, 98% of the class raised their hand. When you get to fourth grade, there's a visceral drop off where it almost flips in reverse, where there's like 3 or 4 kids who will raise their hand. They're like, yeah, I play soccer. Or, yeah, I'm a cheerleader or something. So they had a sport that they were decent at and they enjoyed it. There are more
Mm-hmm.
kids in sports in there, but they still wouldn't raise their hand. And I started to dig deeper, started to realize it's the social aspect of it. Like if you read with dyslexia, do you want to read in front of the class? If you struggle,
Wow.
like you don't want to do these things in front of your peers. It's not enjoyable. Do you want to pick up more books to read if reading is challenging or difficult? Why do you want to? Why would you want to put yourself through that? It feels like you're torturing yourself or you're highlighting something that you're not good. But we do this with movements and just act like it's nothing. And just go get your PE credits, even if you're getting picked last for the game or whatever it is. We just push people along, whatever the sport or the activity is, and we've never taught the foundation of movement literacy. Now, if I double back to what you said earlier when you're talking about what you accomplished from a TRX, I was there at the inception of TRX, my strength and conditioning coach in college during 2001, 2000. Part of the original group of coaches when the TRX was invented and started coming to the public. So we were using it at my junior college before anyone else had it. I'm a certified TRX trainer. I used to run a TRX gym here in Finland and love the aspect of you, the human, being so much the mechanical aspect of it, but really it's a rope hanging from the wall. No shade on
Yeah.
TRX, but I always felt it to be a bit costly. And like you said, a metal carabiner from there, and it's heavy to lug around. That
Mm-hmm.
that whole little setup, even if you got the lightest version of it, it's still gonna add a couple pounds to your suitcase. But at the end of the day, the rope hanging from the wall, and then you become the other end. Like I said, when we created this and what went into that design, bringing it back to the children, it was like we have to make it super, super, super safe. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be secure. I'm at my children. We have to give that level of comfort where you feel like, yes, you can hang upside down, much to the chagrin of my wife, hang upside down, and not feel like your band is going to give out or fail on you. There was a Anthony Richardson from the Indianapolis Colts last week. He's a professional NFL team. Orbital fracture in his eye because a resistance band gave up on him, hit him in the eye.
Wow. So that
And
was
it's
the
like
cause.
this,
Yeah,
but I'm
because
like, this
they
is
didn't
the
specify
NFL.
they didn't specify what it was. Yeah.
Well, there's only one or two things. Either the band is one of the thicker bands like you're holding that has
Mm-hmm.
so much tension and it's so hard and rough that it wasn't held properly or it snapped. Either one, and that can literally go to the eye. I think what's his name, the Liver King. I think he did the similar thing as well, and he showed because he just didn't apply it properly, right? But it's that rough material and the thickness and the hardness of it coming back full speed to hit you in some part of your body, and the eyes, of course, going to be extremely vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, I'm just looking at the fact like this is the NFL. Like we talk about budget, but you're still buying and settling for inferior, and that's on our fault. That's our problem because we haven't done a good job of marketing it to where they understand like this is the quality that they should have and the functionality they should have because they're doing something at a professional level. So I'm working on it. Don't worry about it. But we're trying to get to that point where it's like, no, this would be the standard, and this other stuff is just a cheap lay solution for the old way of doing things is not the best way of doing things all the time. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
good tradition and there's value in that. Like I said, resistance band training is undeniable, and that's what we wanted to capture all of those benefits because there's so many of them. But it
Hmm.
had to be way safer, and there's so much more functionality. So like we actually have a mode where you can attach the red and the green band together, and like you said, you can hang from the wall, and it literally will serve as a TRX. Right now, we're not trying to battle TRX as a direct competitor or anything like that.
Hmm.
But if I can do every single thing I can do with a TRX, but now there's no plastic, there's no metal, there's maybe a tenth of the weight, and I feel just as secure, if not more secure. There's a different level there, and each band is machine tested to withstand thousands of pounds of pressure. So that's why I'll hang upside down without fear of it snapping and me falling on my head. Now, I can attach it in an incorrect way, or I can attach it to a surface that can't handle that feedback.
Hmm.
So there always is still risk for injury. So proceed with caution, you know,
Sure.
always. So
Like
one of
pulling a
the
car.
yes, we were able to tow a car with these too, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
that while that was funny for us to do that on social media, it was actually out of necessity. The car we had lost its battery, and my friend literally had nothing in his car, nothing to jump the car and nothing to tow the car with. Like we had absolutely nothing. Except his wife had a second car. Again, with absolutely nothing in it. It's like, okay, we got a car and we got some hands. What are we gonna do? And I was like, let's see if it'll work. Because I had just got done seeing if I could pull a car with my hands. So, like tow a car tied around my waist. We call that lasso mode. So I was able to do it. We were doing it as a stunt. The battery goes out, and then we ended up having to tow the car for about 5 miles using the bands as the tow hitch, and it worked seamlessly. There was no issues whatsoever. So that was pretty awesome, right? But it's there's so much that goes into such a simple design,
Hmm.
but we wanted to make. I think there was an early customer that said this is simply brilliant because it's brilliantly simple, and I'm like, I gotta really recycle that. I told him I'm stealing it, but that's the beauty of it is the simplicity of it, the fact that you can change your level of resistance without having to have multiple hands, and the fact that you can go hands free or you can wear it in ways that it's possible to wear resistance. So you can do what you normally do, but just like I said, do it with natural steroids.
Yeah. I'm gonna pause before this, but let's try to hold on. Let's try to fix your audio real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see. I was kind of hearing you in and out. No, don't worry, I'll edit this out. But
Yeah, no worries.
okay,
How about now?
better. Yeah, better.
I have my headphones have a mind of their own at times.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So, kind of tell us as well too. So, for those, I guess, who is the typical person? I mean, might not be typical, but like people who are searching for, you know, this type of product, the 2.8 bands. Where have you seen it being used? I know you're mentioning it's for everyone and any type of person, but like who typically uses 2.8 bands and what are they using it for?
The main areas, where attention goes, your energy flows. So we put most of our attention towards speed training because that's the foundation of so many different sports.
Mm-hmm.
So we see the most engagement interaction with track and field,
Okay.
but off of a whim, and this just shows you that we didn't think of this as a business in the beginning. Dropping my daughter off at her rhythmic gymnastics class, and I go in there and I'm seeing hundreds of girls all taking out different bands from their bags, and they're the cheap store bought ones, ones you find next to the bananas or something in the grocery store. But it, I'm just watching a sea of just them working and training at a very high level with very poor equipment. And another thing we do is we brand for organizations as well, so we can now we can make it their colors, their logo. And I'm just watching the gym, and I'm like, I'm messing up here. Like I should, my daughter's here, and I'm allowing this to happen.
Hmm.
So immediately, I just jumped on uh, Instagram and I typed in dance bands and or dance resistance band training or something like that. I came across a profile, and this lady was using bands in her training. And I just sent her a message like, "Hey, we want to send you a sample, see if you could do something." From that moment, dance has probably been our biggest customer, where dancers need no instructions. And because you can put your hands and your wrists and they're free and you don't have to clip or tie anything, they're in and out of it. But the biggest thing is they can dance. They can actually practice their dance movements. We have a saying like, keep the athlete in their element.
Hmm.
If you are on a field, be on the field. If you're on a pitch, be on the pitch. Hell, if you're in the pool, be in the pool. If you're on the court, be on the court. The dancers got to stay in the studio and do what they normally do. They just got to do it better. So it had a real organic, natural feel for dancers. We focus our energy on just coaches and athletes. Coaches are our favorite to talk to. The coaches come to us because when they get it, they understand that they can transform their entire program.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. Of course, we're happy to deal with individual by individual, but we've seen dance studios, track and field coaches, more than anything, adapt to what we've created. Now we recently started to bleed into baseball pretty heavy. Um, told you I was a professional football player, and I haven't even started creating football content. It's been on the back burner because I haven't focused on what I wanted. I focused on good product and then listening to what the market was telling me. But I will very in very short order, you will start to see a lot of football content and football references because it's literally what started everything.
So let's go over the product itself because people probably have never seen it. People have probably never used it. So let's go into what makes these Two8 bands unique from the marketplace and what you're really proud of, because we have different loops with the different stars. We have,
Mm-hmm.
like you're saying, the 8, the loops. Um, there's so much, man. Like I said, the versatility beyond, but kind of let's go over what makes these unique and what you're proud of.
As you mentioned, the end loop, the figure 8 loop, we call this the anchor loop because this allows you to anchor it to your hands, your wrists, your foot, but also to a door, a fence, around a tree. It allows you have a stable surface to slip one end through the other. And if you've ever tied a resistance band to something and then try to untie it, you understand how unforgiving that experience is, right? But having that simple slip knot that I can create that's unbreakable unless I literally cut it, that
Mm-hmm.
can withstand thousands of pounds of pressure, allows me to anchor stuff securely anywhere and be out in 2 to 8 seconds. So first, that security aspect of it. Then this double enforced, reinforced loop allows us to, if I just grab one, I can go much further than if I grab both of them where it's reinforced. And then you have multiple loops throughout the band. So depending on where I grab the band and what range of motion I'm trying to accomplish, one band allows me to unlock several different noticeable levels of resistance. Instead of me having to have 3 different bands, light, a medium, and heavy, I have all of that in one short band. And that's what we also did is we created short bands and
Mm-hmm.
long bands that you can use in the same thing. So I don't have to use a whole long band if I just want some higher tension, short range of motion movement here and I really want to work on some big muscle feedback. So we really tried to create the all-in-one solution. Again, not the best idea from a business standpoint. It's hard to realize that watching other resistance bands, it's like, oh, they're selling more product because they're creating more problems. We're selling less product because we solved more problems, but we have a much more advanced solution, right? And I love a minimalistic lifestyle. I love the fact that all of our products are made in eco-friendly environments. that they're packaged in eco-friendly materials, that we really focused on delivering the most quality premium experience we could for our customers, but not cutting any corners for the sake of saving a couple bucks or
Mhm.
trying to create problems that we end up having to be the solution. And then as we were talking about that snapback and those serious type of injuries, what you'll notice in the center of the band, it doesn't move. This is for a couple of reasons. One, it makes the center of the band the strongest part of the band. Two, when it's stretched all the way out and it does snap, it doesn't snap all the way across because there's a dead point in the center. So if I do happen to try, I attach it somewhere that's not secure, I don't put it on properly, and I do get that snapback, one, you have premium soft material, first thing to save you. But because it has that center point, instead of it snapping across with full tension, it almost deflates into the center.
Yeah.
So a little anti-snap technology, because again, we're working with children. And we do stretch these things out and we let them go. The last thing we want is to send a kid home with some lacerations on from their training with Coach Stokes or Coach Welly. So there's those parts. But then the other part of this is it's reinforced in the center. There's a name tag. Um, I don't know about you, but I was just looking at this in the gym the other day. You know the leather strap that people clip around their ankle to do work on the cable machines.
Yeah.
Have you ever in your life seen one of those straps where the fur on the inside, which is supposed to be white or off white, isn't dirty sweat with brown?
Oh, of course.
Like
All the time. Yeah.
there's
It's
never been a
nasty.
clean one I've ever seen. Yet people still just clip it on and get to work and they start using it. It's just like, ew, that's other body juice. Like yuck. You know, that thing's never been washed. So I just chuckle every time I see one of those. But the fact that, we want you to write your name on the name tag in the center, take ownership of your movement, and then just carry this with you as your normal companion everywhere you go, where you don't have to use other people's sweat juice inside there. And then also the QR code is attached to them as well, so you can get to our mobile app, which is the biggest thing we've been working on. And it's, resistance bands usually come with a little pamphlet to tell you, okay, do some couple of stretches or something like that. And we refuse to always do that because we didn't want to put people in a box, but
Uh-huh.
also because we want real quality coaching to be at the fingertips of our users. So when they get into the Two8 app, they can actually communicate with coaches. They get full free workouts. They get big time premium programs they can purchase. Super excited about the one we just released last week, the Hurdle Hero program,
With
where
Coach Welly.
Coach Welly
Mhm.
released his Hurdle Hero program. And I'm big. I worked in tech for several years, last 13 years before quitting 2 months ago to go full time on this. But the last 2 years of my career in tech was all focused on AI and I have not dropped that ball. So we created Hurdle Hero AI as well, where you literally can talk to Coach Welly's knowledge base at the drop of a dime to ask any question that you want about hurdling and get the type of answer Coach Welly would if he was sitting right there with you to coach you through the process in great detail. So to be able to put that AI into the app, into the program, to give people a 3 month program to teach them the movement literacy of hurdling. So it's like it doesn't matter if you're an Olympian or if you're in the eighth grade and you just decided to try for the first time. That foundational literacy is vital for everyone who wants to be a better hurdler. You know, and the fact that you can talk to AI specifically about that, it's fine tuned with Coach Welly's knowledge. Super, super proud to be able to offer that to every Two8 customer out there. So it's a few things that set us apart from everyone else.
Yeah. Um, I guess for yourself as a coach, and of course as an athlete, where do you see youth sports or even training? There seems to be a gap, especially from my vantage point.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, the type of the way that they move, or just the recovery, or even just proper mechanics of just, doing like bending, sitting, squatting. I mean, maybe it's just the society that we're living where we're not so active anymore. Where I was in front of our screens. or even not taking care of her body as well. Because I have 2 kids as well, so like, they're playing sports, they don't really recover, they don't really warm up. Where do you see this as a as a tool to help, like you're saying, with youth athletes to, whether if it's proper warm up, recovery, or even training? Where do you see this happening and helping these younger athletes to, like I said, maybe gain more knowledge that this is accessible, it's easy, and it's really, easy for people like youth to just throw on and to work, warm up, cool down? Where do you see that happening?
I think you used the perfect word, which is accessible. You know, it had to meet my professional standards for what I wanted to do to perform at the level I wanted to perform at. But at the same time, it had to be accessible for an 8-year-old kid that's getting interested in learning how to move or play a sport or do something like that. And in no way am I trying to advocate everyone become professional in sports or try your best to achieve for that type of goal. The goal for us is always just to move better.
Mm-hmm.
If you were just in a car accident and you're really suffering, the goal the next day is to move a little bit better. Or if you're going for an Olympic gold medal the next day, the goal is to move a little bit better the day before. So that's a common goal that we all can share, as resistance bands are traditionally used when it comes to finding you when you are at your worst, because you can use that type of positive resistance for recovery, recovering just from normal training and working out or warming up. That's where they're most commonly used, and we fit great in all of those spaces. But what we pride ourselves most on is being able to transition into the actual performative part of it. We like to say the band is like the coach's echo, and this is what we discovered when Coach Welly first started working with me to become a professional. When we were tying different bands to me in different ways, it allowed me to be aggressive with the movement mechanics he was explaining to me. But then when he wasn't there and I was being ambitious and doing things on my own, as long as I knew how to put the bands on in the way that he showed me, his echo remained. The muscle memory was exponentially better. The
Mm.
recall just snapped in because there was a physical reminder of where I had been and where I should go. And that's why that 2-year plan to become a pro happened in 6 months, because it was just every day, all day, I could jump back into it. And because the resistance band doesn't tear your muscle fibers, it was, I wasn't overtraining myself. I was
Yeah.
just really programming and fine tuning myself. And there's so many of our modes that when you put them on in the correct way and manipulate them, they literally opportunity to connect with us as coaches as well,
Mm-hmm.
which we would really want your employees to be able to see that, like, oh, you gave us a product that we can use in different ways that actually serves us at work, serves us at home, that my kids can use, my spouse can use. But I actually get an opportunity to talk to the coaches, and I get to see something on a different level and connect with people on a different level that's really going to benefit my lifestyle. So yeah, we want to be the number one product ever for holiday gifts, which is right around the corner, right?
Yeah. Perfect timing. Perfect timing for this podcast to come out too. So, man.
Absolutely.
So let's do this. Closing up. Let's kind of give a recap, a review of Two8 bands, what you stand for, why you think people should look into your bands, and even to look into feeling and moving better. Because, like I said, I'm harping on, just based off of what I do, is like people are sedentary, people are have these chronic pain, people are just not getting those steps, getting moving around, where it's causing them to go down this lifestyle. I mean, and I think you can attest as well as that move by just doing simple movements. I mean, just incorporating with so many different weight training, running, yoga. I mean, there are various coaches who use this. Or even just getting a freaking stretch. I mean, just opening up your chest. I mean, open up your back. Just so much
Yes, sir.
that people could use. I mean, just sit there on your desk, use it. I mean, so let's kind of recap of why people should use 2/8 bands in their life.
Well, I am not some magic genie who created a quick fix that is going to do the work for you. As I said before, you can't coach hustle. Now,
Okay.
that doesn't mean I need you to go out there and turn into a professional athlete. Anyone watching this who is just struggling to move a little bit better, simple. Don't eat bad stuff. Move your body. Your life will be exponentially better for that. So, say all you want to do is walk, like my father. He just wants to walk around the block a few times a day. That's how he stays active. He'll put a band in his hand. Now he walks around the block with this on his neck, and he gets a couple little extra stretches, throws a couple of jabs. It exponentially increases the quality and the results of what his walk is doing for his lifestyle. Sitting at the desk, being able to just massage your neck a little bit, right? Being able to activate your triceps to get your body and your core engaged in simple, easy ways. Hell, I can throw this around my legs. It'll stay there. I don't have to think about it again and just walk around the block. But now when I walk around the block, each step will be that much more meaningful. So no, we're not going to be a magic genie in a bottle that fixes all your problems. But what we're going to do is take the simple things you are already doing, and we can make them so much better for you, so much more productive for you. So you don't have to add more to your lifestyle. Do
Mm-hmm.
what you already do. Just throw abandon with it, and you'll realize how much healthier, how much better you feel, how much more intentional your movement is. Because when you're old, the most successful thing you can have in life is to see a very fit, old, smiling person. What else is winning, right? But what breaks my heart is to see people that are up there in age that have allowed their inactivity to take over,
Yeah.
the shortcomings and stuff that they've had in their life. And then you get to an age where you don't have that fight in you. You don't have enough in you to be able to even move the way you need to feel just normal. That being said, we still work really well with the elderly because it's super soft material and it's super accessible. So even if you
Mm-hmm.
are struggling, this can help you get through your struggle a lot faster. And for everyone else that's just looking for an edge in sports performance, you're not gonna find anything better. You need this in your toolkit if you want to be the best athlete possible. I would challenge anyone, you're not going to find any other sports tool out there, hands down, that will help you at your actual skill in your actual sport.
Amen, man. Let's have you in closing give ways that people can reach out to you, learn more about the 2/8 bands, connect, purchase these bands. Where can they find you? Social, email, website. So go ahead, Coach Stokes.
At, at, you can find us on all social platforms at TWO, spell out the two, and then the number 8, bands, BANDS, at 2/8 bands on all social platforms. Our website at 28bands.com, or you can put at 28.shop. Quicker to type, easier to say. But all the roads lead right back to either our website or social media platforms. Our number one goal is not to sell your product. Our number one goal is to serve you and your movement. So if you reach out, you DM us, you comment, you tag us, you will be responded to in a matter of hours. You will talk to a quality certified coach whose number one mission is to meet you where you are and see how he can help you move a little bit better. And we always stay connected with our community. This is another corny hashtag, but it's one we live by. We must band together, especially in the times we live in today. It's about doing things together. And as AI comes to take over the world, human connection is more needed
More
and more
important. Yeah.
valuable than ever. It's more important. So we always we are a coach first business and an AI second business, right? But we are a coach first business. We always champion our coaches to put them out there to connect with real human beings. So at 2/8 bands, anywhere you go, we're on Amazon as well. You're on Amazon Prime, you can get it in less than 24 hours.
Dang, it's crazy. Man, thank you for the opportunity to have you on the podcast. And of course, letting me incorporate this into my practice, my daily life, and with others. So I appreciate you and the mission, your story that you're able to share with us. And of course, to your following and audience, it's been great for myself, just knowing that I can apply this, just like I said, really enhancing it daily life and helping people see that it's not scary. It's just, making your life easier, making your life more,
Yep.
really better. So thanks again for hopping onto the podcast. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me as well. And we're gonna need a name for the mode you came up with, with the big toes. And man, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. We have to have a cool name for it to work to get to the mode section. Right? The nicest use of the whole band. It's the most creative use we've seen in that so far.